Good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy, Pigskin Pete. Happy Wednesday to everybody. So it's now been a couple of days since the end of the national championship game. A lot of you may have seen my video I posted immediately after the game congratulating LSU on an amazing season and being the rightful champions. That has not changed. I do want to discuss a couple of things, though, about that game from a Clemson fan perspective, as well as talk about a few things looking ahead to next season with both LSU and Clemson, respectively. Look, the way that this works is from a fan side of things. The champions get all of the bragging rights. Everything LSU fans have to say to Clemson fans or anybody else in this country for the next 12 months is 110% deserved. That's the way this thing works. You're the champions, you get the bragging rights. There's nothing anybody can say about it. I spent the last 12 months on YouTube pushing everybody's nose in the 44-16 win, being the champs, and until you get knocked off like Clemson did, that is your right as a fan to do. They call it bragging rights for a reason. Now, I want to be very clear about what I'm about to say in my synopsis of this game. I don't believe that even some of the things that should have gone differently for Clemson, even if they had gone differently, I still think that LSU is a better team. And I think that LSU would have beat anybody in the country, including Ohio State or anybody. They were just the best team in the country this year, and that's just all there is to it. All right. Now, I'm sure I'm probably speaking more to Clemson fans right now than I am LSU fans about that game. Some things that were disappointing to me. First thing was Trevor Lawrence played probably the worst game that I've seen him play in a college uniform. He just was not on all night. He missed a lot of throws that he normally would make routinely. Some of that had to do with the fact that LSU was putting him under a lot of pressure. Some of it was just him just not being on his A game. He even admitted it after the game, saying he just, the blame was on him. He just wasn't on. He was overthrowing a lot of receivers that were open, or at least had one or a half of a step on the defender. So that being number one, that was disappointing, but it's sort of an anomaly for him to play the way that he played. The most disappointing thing to me in the game was the utilization of the most explosive player on the offense, Travis Etienne. Now, Travis Etienne was averaging over 5 yards every time he touched the football during that game. The last time that we saw Travis Etienne touch the football in a designed run situation was with almost 11 minutes left in the third quarter. And that's inexcusable to me. This is something, this is not new to this game. This has been one of my criticisms about the play calling for Clemson for a couple of years now. Now, Clemson's got away with it because of some of the inferior competition that they've played. It almost cost them a game against Syracuse last year at home at Clemson. It's almost cost them several games. He's had an amazing career as a runner and a pass catcher at Clemson, averaging over 8 yards per carry throughout his career. In this particular game itself, like I said, he's averaging over 5 yards per touch. And for him to just be abandoned in the run game with almost the entire second half left. And some people are saying, well, they had to abandon that run to keep up with Joe Burrow in this offense. My criticism of that was, at that point in the game, it wasn't a runaway. We were 3 points down at that point in the game. If you get down 14 to 21 points, then I can see abandoning the run. But the best defense to an offense that is as prolific as LSU's is to keep Joe Burrow on the sideline, and you can only do that through running the football. So I for the life of me, I will never be able to understand why they abandoned Etienne in that game. He's, again, the most explosive player on the football team. And clearly Trevor Lawrence was just not on his A game that night. So that's even all the more reason to give him the football. Disappointing. However, I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the game. I still think LSU was the better team and they would have won the game. So, it is what it is. anyways, look, as far as the future of these two teams going into the 2020 season, I think what I'm going to say right now is probably going to surprise some of you LSU fans. Maybe it won't. I don't know. There's been a lot of news just ever since the games happened that has come out. There's a lot of changes, obviously, at LSU. I mean, obviously, they're losing Joe Burrow, which is the linchpin of the offense this season. Just an amazing, amazing season. One of the best, if not the best, single season by any player, especially a quarterback in college football history. So you can't take that away from them. They're losing a lot of their talent, receivers, all that sort of thing this year. But the big news that came out yesterday was that Joe Brady is leaving to take the offensive coordinator position at my Carolina Panthers, which I'm happy about, by the way. That's a whole nother video. I mean, I'm happy to see that the Carolina Panthers are doing what they're doing and trying to get an offense in there. I'm a big fan of Matt Rule. I'm a big fan of the Joe Brady hire and all of that. But there's a lot of people that think that LSU is just going to go ahead and fall off the map now. Oh, you lost Joe Burrow. Oh, you lost Joe Brady. You're going to be an afterthought going into this next season. I completely disagree with that, and the reason I disagree with it was a few reasons. Number one reason is the main guy that makes the thing go there, the mastermind behind all of this, is Coach Orgeron, and he's still there. Maybe more importantly, the recruiting continues to be at an extremely high level. If you have a head coach that knows what it takes to transform a program to where you need to get them, like Coach Orgeron, and you have Steve Ensminger, who is the play caller. From what I can tell, there's a lot of controversy. Oh, I don't know who was calling the play. Ensminger seems to be the one that was calling the plays. Losing Joe Brady, I don't think is going to hurt this team much at all. Losing Joe Burrow might. I mean, they have to replace an all-time great quarterback. That's a different story. But Ensminger, the offense is already installed there. So the playbook is already installed there. I don't think you're going to see much of a change in the way that plays are called or that the offense is designed for LSU. As long as Ensminger's there, which is, as far as I know, he's coming back next year. So I don't think this is like a death blow to LSU. They're still going to have one of the most elite rosters in the country. They have had for a long time. The problem was just the scheme they run. But the scheme they run with Joe Brady there or not is not going to change. The playbook is installed. They'll continue doing what they're doing as long as they have the players to do it. Then they'll be there. Now the problem with LSU is that they have Alabama in their division, so it's going to come down most likely, in my opinion, to those two teams year in, year out until something changes, until Ensminger is gone or there's some sort of other major coaching change at LSU. Other than that, I don't see a big issue. They're not going anywhere. They'll still be in the hunt, and it probably will come down to them versus Alabama in Baton Rouge next year to see who wins that division. That's my early season prediction, but we'll see what happens there. As far as Clemson goes, definitely not a worry in the world. Winning consistently at the level that Clemson has is one of the hardest things to do in college football. Clemson also is losing one of their offensive coordinators, Jeff Scott, to South Florida as the head coach there. But Tony Elliott is still on staff for the time being. There's some rumblings about whether or not he'll be there before the start of next season, if he will get a head coaching job. That may change things, but losing Jeff Scott in and of itself is not that big of a deal because these guys have been co-offensive coordinators for a long time at Clemson. Again, same thing as with LSU. The playbook's not changing, the philosophy's not changing, or any of that. Obviously, the recruiting at a high level, and as for now, in the time being, they are the class of the ACC, and nobody else seems to be able to compete with them. So I fully expect Clemson to be back in the mix next year without a doubt. There just was not a team in the country this year that was able to stand up to that juggernaut of LSU, period. So that's the reason, to much people's dismay, that I was not disappointed with the outcome of this football game. I know Clemson will be back next year and for many years to come probably. They're in a good situation. And as long as Sweeney's there, then all bets are off. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts, your criticisms, your comments in the comment section below about anything I said today. And I will also be releasing my off-season schedule as far as live streams go and that sort of thing, because I like to do these call-in shows weekly, even during the off-season if I can. I want to try to nail down a specific day and a specific time so people know when I'm going to be on without having to guess about it or keeping an eye out for the notifications. So I'll be nailing that time down very soon. I'll let you know what it is. Anyways, a great wrap up to a great season, and it's on to 2020. See you guys soon. Pigskin Pete checking.